Holy smokes. Hey, welcome to Behind the Wheel podcast. We're back. This is episode 7. I'm Bill Mel, and this is
Mike Schweitzer.
Yeah, and we're talking to Lightning Sprint drivers across the country and getting to know about what Lightning Sprints are and spreading the word. And so we talk about it every time, and every time I ask that question, so Mike, what's a Lightning Sprint?
Yeah. It's for me, it's one of the best bangs for the buck in racing. It's a production motorcycle engine in a, so to speak, a midget chassis. Some of the cars will double as a midget. The Hingecraft won't, but yeah. So man, today we've got 2 more Lightning Sprint drivers. They're going to be calling in, talking to us. The first one is Bobby Michnowicz from the California Lightning Sprints. And the second one will be Dakota Albright from our Northern California BCRA Lightning Sprint Club.
Yeah, I think Bobby's here with us now.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Bobby. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Good. So, Bobby, just to kind of give you a little rundown of what we're doing. So, Bill Mel, longtime friend. We worked together in the oil and gas industry at one time, and he's actually one of our sponsors on the 41 car. Bill Mel and Associates. He's a local real estate broker here in town. We've used him quite a bit, and he had this awesome studio set up, and we kind of got the opportunity to come in and do a few podcasts, and so we started out kind of small, thinking about just doing, the California guys, and then we kind of started getting an interest with everybody across the country, so we've kind of expanded it, and we've had some great calls. We've talked to some people in Michigan that race on the ice and are trying to get us to come up there, and I don't know that we're going to do that, but we've had some pretty interesting callers. But just to kind of give you a little rundown on Bill, we drag Bill to the racetrack whenever we can. We need to get him out there a little bit more, so it's been a real good experience to be able to do these podcasts and have him share his equipment with us.
Yeah. That's great. Great idea.
So is it Bob or Bobby? What do they call you?
Some people call me Bob. Some people call me Robert, Bobby. In racing, most people call me Bobby because I raced my whole life with my dad. My dad owned most of the cars I drove, and he was Bob and I was Bobby. So
nice.
Either way, I answered any of it.
Yes. Yeah. So back in the day when I was working on a rig with Mike, my first day out was with Wink, his brother, and after that first day, I was like, yeah, this is good. So I finally got like a permanent rig that I was working on with the crew, and one of the hands, his dad's name was Bill. So he wouldn't call me Bill because that was his dad or stepdad's name. So he called me either Billy Boy or they call me Junior because I hadn't earned Bill yet.
Yeah, no.
And so Bob, what is how old are you?
I am 58 now.
58. Wow.
Yeah, not young as I used to be.
You got a young sounding voice.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. And where are you from?
I live in Oak Hills, California. That's in the high desert up near Hesperia and areas up there.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That's so how's the weather up there?
It's pretty nice. We're at like 4,000 feet, 4,200, so it doesn't get too hot.
Yeah.
It does get cold in the winter. I'm not used to the cold because I grew up by the beach in Redondo Beach, Torrance, Lomita, Carson area. And we moved up the hill to the high desert and during COVID, LA County lockdowns were tragic, so we ended up moving up there, and I love it up there. They're a little bit cold in the winter, though.
Yeah, for sure. I'll bet it is.
A lot better weather than what we got going on here right now, man. We're like, I saw 108 at the house today.
Yeah. Welcome to Hello. How are you?
Oh man, it's terrible. It is miserable here. I've got so much stuff to do out in the garage, and it's just like, man, it's even with a fan and the cooler on, it's just miserable. So, hey Bobby, so what do you do for a living? I mean, I know what you do, but share with us on what you guys do for a living.
So I own a company called Timeless Enterprises, or T-shirts by Timeless. We do silk screening and embroidery, and a little bit of vinyl graphics. So we do a lot of the race car designs, and you see hats and embroidered hats and things like that. So we've been doing that since the early 90s.
Wow. Yeah, I see them Timeless T-shirts by Timeless stickers all over the place. I was wanting to talk to you about how do you get one of those on your car?
That's it, as easy as that. I'll get you one.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
So Bob, you know, I get some notes here. Mike kind of clues me in a little bit here. You're running number 21 on your car.
Yep. Always been 21.
Tell me about 21. What's 21 mean for you?
So my dad, I never really knew, but I've raced since I was a kid. Growing up, we'd go to Riverside Raceway, and David Pearson would be there in the Woods Brothers car, and that'd always be my favorite driver because of 21. And I never really knew 21 other than, why we had it or anything like that. So, later on in life, my dad finally told me that, he was him and my mom were in Florida up until 63, about when I was born. They moved out here to California, and my dad would hang out at Daytona, the Speedway, and he was friends with Marvin Panch and the Woods Brothers. So he always got to work on their race cars back in the day. Wow. And we'd go back there for a visit. So I was always 21. I didn't really know that till later. But we'd go back there for a visit, or they'd be out here at Riverside, and we'd go see Marvin. We'd always hang out with Marvin, and I never really knew anything about Marvin Panch other than, I guess he raced at some point in his life. And later on, I see that comes out NASCAR. He's one of the top 50 drivers of NASCAR, and I had no idea growing up. It was just Marvin.
Wow.
Yeah, because I like David Pearson. I didn't even know Marvin, raced really.
Yeah, my wife, when I got her into watching racing when we'd first met, and that was her team, was the Wood Brothers. She liked them, and I actually have that 21 car when Trevor Bain won in it. So that's always been her. She always likes that 21 car in NASCAR. Yep. So. Yep,
it's a good car. I remember growing up, it was David Pearson in that car, or Richard Petty in the 43.
So kind of you touched on it a little bit about the early racing. What age did you get started racing, and what class was you running?
So I started. I was about 5 years old, and my dad got a quarter midget, and he drugged me out to Firestone over in off the 710 freeway here in Southern California, and I hated it. I didn't want to race. I remember him pushing me on the track. So Firestone was like
up on the hill,
like Oildale.
It's up on the hill, right?
No, it was near shopping centers and stuff, but it was just near Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
So it was just a little quarter midget track. It was right next to Cal Worthington Dodge.
There it is. I remember that. I remember.
Right?
Yeah, if you want a truck or car, go see Cal.
Yeah.
Yes, and his dog Spot. So we were right next door, and my dad would take me out there, and I hated it. I'd cry every time we had to go, and he'd push me on the track in turn 4, and I'd go around and I'd come right off the track in turn 3. I never made a lap, and he'd say, "Just make one lap." I'd try again, and I'd come off. I'd say, "Did I get a lap?" And he'd like, "Nope, you didn't make a lap again." And I just cried. I can remember sitting in the infield, and I was just a little guy, and telling him, "I wish I was the dad. I'd make you race these things." Yeah. And I remember him telling me, "I wish I could. I'd like it." But then all of a sudden, I just started liking it, and it probably wasn't too long, and then that's all we've really done my whole life.
Wow,
that is.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we. Me and Wink growing up, man, we had go-karts, mini bikes, trials bikes. We were around the race cars, here and there, and it's a good childhood for sure,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
So we've been practicing on not saying the word "so."
And I think we both said it about 3 times today already.
It's just we have kind of a program that we run by. And we already see it, and so for us, it's naturally so.
Yeah.
Since we have this question that we already know that we know, how you kind of answered it. How you got started. Yeah. And that was you're in a midget. How'd you get started in the lightning sprints?
So I raced. So I was in quarter midgets when I was a kid, and back then you ran till you were 15, 16 in quarter midgets. Then you moved up to a TQ, which is a 3/4 midget, till you were 18. Then you jumped in a sprint car or a midget or whatever from there and tried to move on. So I ran quarter midgets till I was 15. Then my dad got a 3/4 midget. I ran those for 3 years. Then I got a sprint car. I ran Ascot, Bubby Jones, Dean Thompson era, where they dominated everything, and I ended up getting hurt in '85. So I went wing sprint car racing after that. Started in '86 and ran wing sprint cars up until early '90s. Then I came back to the non-wing sprint cars. And the way I got into lightning sprints is, so around '97 I would run in sprint cars, and my dad got sick with leukemia and he passed away. So I ran for another year, and it just wasn't the same racing, your whole life with your dad, and all of a sudden he's gone. So I kind of quit racing.
Wow.
We went dirt bikes, I got dirt bikes for the kids, and we went out riding, and we went to the desert, and about 4 years went by, and this guy, Bobby Owens, he comes by my house. He's got a Focus midget, and I was like, oh, pretty cool. He's like, yeah, we got practice at Ventura coming up this Saturday. Why don't you come out and just run a few laps? I was like, I guess I could try that. So it's like the drug. As soon as I went back, I got in the car. I was like, oh, I can do this. I need to go back racing.
Right.
So we ended up getting a Focus midget. I ran that for a couple of years. And my youngest son, Kevin, is like 13. He wanted to give it a try, so he put him in a Focus midget. And wasn't that great. They were underpowered. They weren't that much fun. So I got Kevin in a 600 micro up in Visalia, Lemoore.
Mm-hmm.
We were in that for a little bit, and then we went out to Paris. We were just spectating at Paris Auto Speedway. Sprint cars were running, and here come these wing cars out, little lightning sprints. And I looked at them, and me and Kevin are like, wow, those are pretty cool. We should look into that. So within probably 3 weeks, we had one, and Kevin was racing, now in the lightning sprint. So I wasn't running yet. So he's running around, and he's doing pretty good, and he won a couple races, and then he wanted to go to the river one weekend. We had a race with the lightning sprints at Bakersfield at Oildale. So I told Wendy, I said, no, let's go run. I haven't run one of these cars. Let's take it out and I'll run it. So we went up there, and I went out and ran some hot laps, and I came back in, and I told Wendy, I said, you need to call Kevin and tell him he's a hell of a race car driver, because this is a real race car. And I was just impressed with him from right then, and we ended up getting 2 of them, and just that was like 2010. So we've been in lightning sprints for 10, 12 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys were coming in when we were trying our hand at midget racing.
Yep.
I think we ran a few races with you there at Ventura and stuff, and then we moved on to midgets, and then we kind of got out of it for a while, and I kind of tricked Wink into kind of coming on back. Yeah, oh yeah.
Always get sucked back in somehow.
Bobby, I'm not the only one here. I mean, I'm new to the racing thing, if you will, but I'm not the only one that just giggles inside a little bit when you talk about racing midgets and quarter midgets and 3/4 midgets. I'm like, is that like an arm and a leg? Is that
right?
You do laugh a little bit inside, right, when you hear that? Still?
Yeah. Not as much as we used to, but
right.
It's like midgets.
Yeah, I mean, it's not politically correct today, but
right,
but it is what it is. I mean, it's like, all right. I mean,
I've seen some things on the internet now from some of the other people that I follow, and that they've been getting flagged on their posts because they put like midget racing or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I've heard that too.
They just don't understand it.
Wow.
Algorithm.
With all the classes that you've ran, what has been your favorite, past or present?
Honestly, I would have to say wing sprint cars, because we ran wing sprint cars, 410s, no 360s or nothing, 410s from like 86 to 92. We ran with the best in the country. I mean, Kinzer, Swindell, Wolfgang, Schumann, Brent Kading, Jimmy Sills, all the best. Steve Kent was good. I mean, and that time period in wing sprint cars was probably, there's nothing like a 410 wing sprint car. So that was probably, I'd have to say, my favorite time in racing. As far as the car, lightning sprints is a blast. I love these as much as anything. And like I tell people, I said, they won't physically kill me and they won't financially break me. Right. And that's one thing I love about them. And it's just a scaled down World of Outlaws sprint car. Yeah. And that's what I love about it so much. It's like the big 410 sprint car, but it's scaled down. and it's for anybody that wants to do it. It's a blast. So 410 wing sprint cars are my number one, but Lightning Sprints are probably my number two.
Yeah, I like those. I like those wing cars. I'm a wing guy. I mean, there's so many classes nowadays that are non-wing. There's not that many.
Yeah.
I like those wing 360s up north. Man, they bring 50, 60 cars a show. And I mean, man, they put on a good show.
Yeah, no, wing sprint car, and people are deceived. They're like, oh, it's like pavement. It's like, no, it's nothing like pavement. I mean, a wing sprint car is harder to drive, in my opinion, than a non-wing sprint car because of the speeds, and the decision making has to be so quick. I mean, a sprint car in general is a lethal piece of equipment, but a wing sprint car is just the pinnacle, in my opinion. A wing 410 sprint car, and 360s are fast too, but there's nothing like that 410 wing sprint car.
Yeah.
What do you feel in that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've never raced any car. I've raced my car, on the freeway. But I mean, so what are you feeling when you're?
It's hard to describe. It's racing something that you can't really describe. You just have to live it.
Yeah.
Like you can go. When I quit racing, I went and rode dirt bikes. Went to the river in a boat. And it's all very fun and it's all something. But there's nothing like the smell of methanol at the racetrack, the competitiveness. There's nothing like being in a race car that you can compare it to, really. And you just, I mean, like the other day we were going to a race, and Wendy's like said something about somebody who's nervous before a race, and I told her, I said, I'm nervous before every race. Every time I hit the track, I'm nervous. She's like, are you kidding? You get nervous? I said, yeah, every time I hit the track.
Wow. I
said, it's the unknown. Every time you hit the track, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
And you want to do your best, and there's so many variables out there. It's I get a knot in my stomach every time I'm about to race.
So those wings, you said, you like the wing cars. So do you feel the wing? Do you feel it in the steering wheel? Do you feel it in the seat of your pants? Do you feel it on the right side, the left side, in the
The difference is, non-wing sprint cars, you really drive with rear tires.
Right.
You steer it with the rear tires. You throw the car around. You're in a point of no man's land at times where you have no control. As you throw it in the corner, you lose total control for instances. Whereas a wing car, it puts it back where you're really steering from the front and the rear. It gives you more control of the car, and you're less likely to have, even though you're going so much faster, you have so much more control of the race car. And I grew up in an era, sprint cars, where they were deadly. I mean, people were dying in sprint cars, and it was a dangerous sport. And it's way less dangerous now. But the wing cars back then were way less dangerous than the non-wing cars, and that's why I went that route. But then I ended up just loving the cars that much more.
Right. Gotcha. With the two cars that you have, Bobby, what chassis are you running, and what motor packages are in each one of those cars of yours?
So both of my cars are a XXX midget converted to a Lightning Sprint. They were converted by Mel at Circle Track Performance. And they're both good cars. And one of my cars has a ZX-10, a Kawasaki ZX-10, and my other car has a Honda CBR 1000.
Nice.
Yeah, they're both nice cars.
Yep, they sure are. They're both equally as fast.
Nothing really stands like they're both. You feel the best about both of them, or?
Yeah, the Kawasaki has a little more total overall power.
Gotcha.
The Honda, it's like driving a Cadillac. It just is very smooth and
consistent,
and the performance is so consistent. It doesn't have the overall power that the Kawasaki has, but it still wins races equally. So, I like both of them. You hate to give up any horsepower in any form of racing, but they both compete very well.
Yep. Yeah, they sure do.
What does the future look like for you, Bob?
Just same old thing. Just continue running Lightning Sprints as long as we're competitive and have a good time and enjoy doing it. And my son Kevin races here and there. He's pretty much works full time now, starting his life. So he races part time. But Wendy, my wife, and I, we try to hit the whole circuit, the two of us, and we still enjoy going racing. It's like our date. Every weekend that we go racing, it's like a date.
Nice. That is good.
Yeah, I guess I need to start looking at it more like that. Maybe I can get mine out a little bit more.
Right. Come on, I'll hold your hand.
Yeah.
Go to the track.
Well, she's got that motorhome now, so she's set. She'll be there now.
Now
there you go.
2 trucks, one
Yeah.
trailer for the cars and one trailer for the wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Bob, what you got a favorite track you raced at previously, or?
I got numerous favorite tracks on the West Coast. Bakersfield, Oildale Speedway has always been my favorite. I love that place, whether it's in a sprint car, a midget, or a lightning sprint, or a Focus. I've always done well there, and I've always liked it. And the Schweitzers are amazing people, and it's just I just love going there. As far as the East Coast, I always liked Lincoln, Pennsylvania. Eldora was a fun place to race. Little treacherous. It was funny. The first time I went there, I was young, and Jack Hewitt, he's the man, or was the man there.
Oh yeah.
And I had only heard, you got to run right on the fence, up against the concrete. And we were standing there at the pit meeting, and I was saying, man, I don't think I'll run on the fence. And Jack Hewitt overheard me. He's like, hey, you want me to, if I'm gonna punch you in the face, you want me to draw way back and punch you in the face, or you want to put this fist right next to my face? He says, or you want me to punch you from here? And I said, I get your philosophy, what you're saying, but I don't want punched in the face at all. So,
yeah.
And what it did, and that was his philosophy on it, and that's why he was so fast there. For me, it was like, it's not the touching the wall. It's what happens after you touch the wall, and it sucks your front end into the wall, and then all of a sudden you're flipping down the straightaway. So It was a whole different thing. But yeah, that first time we went there, I led the thing for 20 laps, and the last 10 laps it got on the wall, and I pulled it down the lane, and him and Leland McSpadden and I think Rusty McClure, I think was his name, but they ended up first, second, third, and I was fourth. And I was like, well, you know what? And somebody came at Ken Wagner. He's a good dude. He came out of the stands. He says, oh, you should have got on the wall and you would have won it. I said, yeah. I said, Ken, why don't you jump in that thing and get on the wall?
Yeah.
I said, because this is my first time there, and I just wasn't going to do it quite yet.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Get the unpucker out of your shorts there. So
Yeah, that Eldora is
you got to have nerves of steel, and I
Yeah.
wasn't. And my first time there, I was like, you know what? I think I'll come back to fight another day.
Next time, yeah. Bob, is there somebody that you like? Maybe one driver you like racing against more than others?
Oh, it's got to be my boy, Doug Noon. Right, Mike?
Yeah. I kind of knew that was going to come, because I remember the time that you got out of the car and said, F you, Doug Nunez. No,
I didn't. I don't say F you. I said Doug Nunez kiss my ass.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember that night. Yeah, he's always been a tough competitor, but I knew that was going to be your driver.
Yeah.
Him
and I, we're best buddies now, but we were like, water and oil, or it was just we were, he's super aggressive, super fast, but doesn't mind rubbing wheels. And I think I'm pretty fast, but I'm not the type will be very aggressive and rub wheels. So him and I kind of clashed right off the bat because of our styles, but yet we were the top two guys at that point. And but now we're super cool and we get along great.
Yeah, I remember that night when you did that. You got out of the car and I thought, oh man, this is going to be great in the pits. I can't wait to hurry up and get down there.
Yeah. He was doing everything to get me that night. And ended up winning. He was second, but
Yep.
Yeah.
That was at Bakersfield. Yep.
Yeah, I had to call Mr. Schweitzer there and apologize for cussing on his policy.
I'm sure he got a kick out of that. I'm sure he did.
Says, "Oh, don't worry about it."
Yeah. So with all the races that you've ran and all the tracks you've been to and all the experiences throughout your career, is there one experience or one race that you've is your favorite that you'll never forget, past or present?
Yeah, there's you remember. I tell people you remember more the losses that were devastating than the wins that were out of nowhere. some of the things I remember the most are rolling down the ramp at Chili Bowl, rolling out for the A main Saturday night. That just rolling down the ramp and rolling onto the track. You never forget that. And we were racing at Canyon one time in Arizona, and it was like, mid 90s, and Leland McSpadden and Ron. Was so fortunate to run against the best. I think that was the best generation of racers with Schumann and McSpadden and Kinzer, Swindell, Wolfgang, Bubby, Dean, Jimmy Sills. I mean, the list goes on.
Right.
And those guys won everything. They didn't leave anything for us. I mean, we had to get seconds and thirds and fourths. And occasionally we'd win. But those guys dominated the sport. They didn't leave much for us.
Yeah.
So we were at Canyon, and I was running like fourth in the main, and we were all around the bottom because it was pretty dry. And I remember, and Leland was leading it. He was going to win. I remember coming up on a lap car who was on the top, and I thought, you know what, that guy, it took me 2 laps to get by him, and I couldn't quite get by him, and the yellow came out. And I thought, there's something up top that nobody knows about. I just got lucky. The lap car kind of showed me. So I'm lined up fourth. There's about 3 laps to go, and they throw the green. And I went right to the top and instantly passed everybody in front of me except Leland. He was leading it. I could have passed Leland 2 laps before the end, but I just slowed down and I followed him. We took the white flag. He's leading it. We come off of turn 2, and I just blew by him and beat him like 15 car lengths. And he came over after the race, and he shook my hand, and he said, you know what? Good race. You didn't show me your hand until it was too late for me to do anything about it. And that's probably like, it's a small race. It was just a little race at Canyon, but it was pretty big in my mind because I remember it quite often.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate getting beat on the last lap.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
happened.
The worst.
Oh, man, I hate that.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
And you remember the losses like that. I remember because it was Leland, but you remember those losses. Schumann did it to me at Santa Maria. Richard Griffin did it to me at Bakersfield one night, and you remember those forever.
I'll get you next time, sucker.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a lot of, it's like, oh, man, it takes the wind out of yourselves. It's
right.
like, oh, man, it's like.
Yeah, it does. It's just deflating.
Even though, I mean, you could start all the way in the back, and if you get to second, it's still like, oh, man, it's still that.
So
it's hard.
I think I have the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Bob, who's been, like your biggest moral supporter during your racing career?
Oh, it was always, my mom and dad. My mom and dad, sacrificed everything for us to go racing. So they were always, and my mom still checks on us every time we go racing, and the whole way there, the whole way back. And of course, Wendy, my wife, her and I are, we do everything together. So
that's awesome.
Those 3 people for sure.
Well, I'm kind of glad you brought Wendy up. So, I mean, so I know that she's the crew chief of that 21 car, and I know that she brings out the best in you. I've seen that, I mean, I've seen them signals, I remember one time at Bakersfield where your car wasn't running good. It was kind of popping and backfired, and we were running second, and I thought, oh man, he's going to pull in. And there's Wendy waving you on, and I thought, oh my God, no, don't do that, and you ended up winning it, and we ran second to you, but it was like, man, so yeah.
She's super smart.
Yeah.
She knows our sport.
How many years have you guys been together?
Well, we met. Actually, I'd have to say Ventura is my favorite track because without Ventura Raceway and Jim Naylor, I wouldn't have met Wendy because her grandfather raced TQs, Friday Shackelford, and that's how I met her. But we met when we were 16, and we've been together ever since. So it's like 42 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long time, man.
It's crazy, but no, she helps me. I couldn't go without her, but she helps me so much in everything. But she knows racing more than most everybody out there. She knows it. She can watch it and she knows it.
Yeah. So in the lightning sprints, Bob, what's your best advice? You might say, I get a car next week. Man, what are you giving me for advice?
Well, it depends. Like the lightning sprints they're a feeder series to bigger cars. They're a series for guys like myself who are still young enough to race but don't want to race big cars and risk themselves. It's a series for people that don't have a lot of money because you can do it on a budget. So it's a lot of different things. So if somebody who's never raced comes to me, I give them advice of have fun, talk to people, watch videos, watch the other cars, learn. If young kids come to me who are moving through, I like to tell David Gasper, he wins a lot, and I tell him, dude, you want to win the right way. You want to beat people fair. You want to race clean. You want to be humble. I just it just depends on what you're in the sport for, if you're moving through or whatever. But everybody I tell, enjoy it. Have fun. It's supposed to be for fun. If it's not fun, don't do it.
Yeah.
And, it's just, you got to enjoy what you're doing. And yeah, we're all passionate and take it serious, but you got to just, be humble and be a good sport. And I wasn't really always like that. I'm still kind of a bad sport, I got to admit.
Yeah, for me, it's on the restarts. If you're leading, protect the bottom from that slide job. And you know where I'm coming from. And then the next one is on the restarts, if you have multiple restarts, don't do them all the same.
Exactly. Don't start at the same spot.
And you know where I'm coming from because I learned that from you.
Yep.
I mean, man, that was a hard one. The first two restarts, we protected it, and then man, on that third one, we went to the top, and you went to the bottom, and pulled that slider on us, and we were done with like 2 to go. We were done. So that's heartbreaking material right there.
Yeah. See, now you guys are winning more races than me. I haven't won much, and it's just one thing after another. Our life has been so tragic for 2 years, and I feel like we're back in a position to start running in the front. Well, we've been running in the front, but I feel like we're in a position to win some races again and give people some runs. So it's always fun as long as, I like to tell people, let's get good racetracks with 2 wide, 3 wide racing, and let the best team win. The best driver with the best setup and the best crew that gets their car the closest for that track.
Yep, I totally agree. Well, we're coming to the end of the call now, and I was just wondering if you had anybody that you wanted to thank, any sponsors, or I know that Wendy helps you a ton, and is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I got to thank Tony Fabosi. He does a lot for me as far as he's got a metal works place and he fabricates, and same with Andy Bondio. They do a lot for me on my race cars as far as little things I need help with. Jamie Wagner, he helps me with my motor advice and stuff. And Outlaw Wings, Russell and David over at Outlaw Wings, they're the best. Brian at Super Shocks, I love Super Shocks. TJ Forge wheels, they're really phenomenal wheels. Kaiser does some really nice stuff, and just everybody that goes out to the races, all the teams that we race with. It's really fun to be in the series. Yeah,
it is. It's a tough series, man, we all take our turn at the top, and we all take it at the bottom too, and lately it's been a lot of these young guys, man. Gasper, whew. Man, that kid's he's setting the world on fire right now with that 18 car, and he's going to be a heck of a driver in that sprint car, I think, too.
Yeah, no, he's very talented. He's very aggressive. I say he's like he reminds me of I was talking about Doug Nunez. He's very aggressive like that, and he comes from the off-road type stuff, so he's used to rubbing wheels. But no, he'll be pretty. It'll be interesting to watch him in a bigger car. I'm sure he'll do very well.
Yeah.
Nice.
And a nice kid, nice family.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Bob, hey, we're at the end of our call. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to call in.
Of course.
And sharing your experiences with us. And hey, I just want to say good luck to you this year.
Thank you guys for having me on, and tell Dakota when he gets on, tell him we're coming to Chico. We're coming for him.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows that. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure that
no more playing. We're serious now.
Yeah, he's got that new car, so we'll let him know for sure.
Yeah, he's got the pop off. I can hear that thing.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, and appreciate it, and we'll see you at the races.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good one, Bob. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Wow. That was a great call.
That was a great call.
Another good one.
58, man. He doesn't sound. He's got a young voice. It doesn't sound like he's. It sounds like a younger guy. And not 58's not old, but I mean,
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm 50. I mean, so
I'm going to be 61. I have a hard time keeping up with all these kids in the pits and all that, you know.
I just thought, as you get a little older, things change. You know what I mean? Like your perspective on things change a little bit. And
Right.
So when you get someone that calls in and they're like, "Hey, I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm 24," you're like, "Wow, I wonder what that means." Kind of.
Yeah, Bobby, he gets around pretty good, man. I mean, don't let him fool you.
Right.
He's been doing this a long time, like a lot of us all have been, but he definitely has a lot of experience, and he's always a tough.
The 50s and 60s ain't old, Mike. I'm here to tell you.
Well, in 108-degree weather,
right,
it makes me feel like I'm, quite
old.
a bit.
Yeah. But you're not, and I don't feel that old as well. I mean, 50 is not, it's not the thing. You know what I mean? I'm just like, that ain't nothing. Ain't nothing at all. So, man, we got our next caller calling in here. I got Dakota Albright. Dakota, you there?
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Dakota, you are with us. Where are you calling us from?
Right now I'm at my home in Waterford, California.
Waterford up north, right?
Yeah, up north, about 15 minutes east of Modesto.
Nice.
So let me give you a little intro, Bill, on Dakota. So Dakota has been a longtime racer. He belongs to the Northern BCRA Lightning Sprints, and very tough competitor, always has been. And for you, Dakota, so Bill is one of our sponsors. He's a real estate broker here in town in Bakersfield, and he's been with us for, I think, 5 years now. And so we got this opportunity to do these podcasts, and we're going to continue to do them. We've been talking with drivers from Washington to Michigan, just kind of all over the place. So we're going to keep doing these podcasts as long as there's an interest for them. So we just want to welcome you on. We got a few questions and some things to talk about.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It's good that you guys are doing something like this for a racing organization and the Lightning Sprint. So
yeah, we're gonna make a go of it and just kind of see how it works out, and if it pans out, we'll keep doing them. And it's a very nice studio here at Bill's office, so I mean it's a heck of an opportunity to kind of promote Lightning Sprint racing, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Dakota, how old are you?
I'm 31 years old.
31, a young buck.
Yeah.
That depends on how you look at it in the racing world now.
Yeah, we just got off the phone with Bobby. Bobby's 58, so yeah, you got a long ways to go.
He said, by the way, he's coming for you in Chico.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he could come all he wants because I won't be there. So.
Oh, that's a bummer. I'll
be at Placerville though. I'll be at Placerville.
Okay.
Nice.
So you're living there in Waterford. How long have you lived there?
I bought my house 8 years ago in October. So 8 years now. Originally from Oakdale, and I live with my mom in Turlock, but my dad was from Oakdale, so not too far from where I've been.
Yeah. Yep. That's for sure.
Nice. So what do you do for a living up there?
I'm an assistant parts manager at the Peterbilt dealership in Turlock.
Nice. So I bet that is a neat little job. I bet the name itself brings a whole 2 hands full of jokes at a time or two, I suppose, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's interesting every day. We're also a dual dealership. It's called. We also sell international trucks, so we sell international parts as well. So
nice.
It's good job. Been there 11 years now, and
Yeah,
Wow.
it's quite a while.
yeah, I've worked my way up through the ranks there, and it's great people to work for, great company.
Yeah, and Mike also is kind of clued me in a little bit here, saying that you are about to get married.
Yeah, here less than 2 months, October 1st.
Oh wow, is this the first one?
Yes.
Nice. The luckiest one, I suppose.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling her.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Where'd you guys meet?
That's a funny story. We actually met at a local bar in Turlock during a weekday. She had actually we both had gotten off work, and I went with some friends to the bar, and my friend, she was going to be my wingman for me. She actually introduced us. She had no idea who she was, and just walked up and started talking to her, and that's how it all started. I mean, it took her a couple of years to realize what she was missing out on, but
Right.
she came around.
Nice.
Right.
So I've been married for 26 years, maybe 27 years this September next month, and I've known my wife through high school and stuff. But the kind of the night that it all started, I took her home from a bar as well, so I can relate with that. For sure.
No, she's great for me. I'm the lucky one. So
nice.
Yeah.
What's her name? Let's give this mysterious gal a name.
her name's Kristen.
Kristen. All right, I'm going to write that down, Kristen. So shout out to Kristen. You are the best. The best that Dakota's met, and you definitely bring the wind beneath his wings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get
absolutely.
the prize. Well,
Nice.
I'm glad that you were able to call in today. This is episode number 7, part 2 of our podcast. And so like I said, we're just talking with drivers across the country. One question I've always kind of wanted to ask you. So how did you get your start in racing?
Well, I mean, it was thanks to my dad. I mean, I grew up around racing because of him. I mean, he used to own a 250cc micro back in the day with his best friend, and I just always been around racing. And eventually, when they transitioned into formerly called the midget lights of BCRA,
Right.
after a few years of running that, he got a car from a friend of his, Marshall Sexton. I'm not sure if you remember that name, Mike.
Yeah.
And it just was a second car, and I finally got my shot and when I was 16 years old. Because back in that time, you couldn't be 14 or 12 and running a lightning sprint.
Was that the black? Was it a black 2 car?
No, it was a black and yellow Ellis chassis.
Okay.
My claim to fame here, as I tell everybody, which it was Brad Sweet's first midget light or lightning sprint that he ever raced. It's the same car my first car that I've ever raced.
Yeah, I remember running against him. He was another tough customer from up there in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. Hey, so Dakota, what? I'm taking this one, Mike. So 35 Junior is your number.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, man. What's the 35 Junior about?
So once again, like my dad, my grandpa owned hardtops back in the 50s and 60s, maybe early 70s too, racing at the old San Jose Speedway, Kearney Bowl, and stuff like that. Well, the hardtop was 35. Well, when my dad got a midget light or lightning sprint now, it was 35 with his best friend driving. Well, when I came up, I wanted to be 35 like my grandpa's car, and like my dad's car was, and kind of thought, well, like the Dennis Roth Beef Packer cars, how they're 83 JR. So I just become 35 JR because I was the junior.
Wow.
Gotcha.
So I from what I understand, this year you're running a new car, yeah?
Yeah, I got a new car at the beginning of this year, or during the winter, I should say, and it's a 2019 Hyper chassis with a 2019 ZX10.
And how does it ride? How do you like it?
So far, so good. I think we've raced it 6 times now. I mean, just trying to get comfortable in the car, just trying to figure things out on it, what it likes and what I could do adjustment-wise, what it's going to do to the car, how much of a swing can I take at it,
Right.
compared to my older car. But so far, so good. I mean, it's an all new package. I won once this year, and couple podiums, and like I said, it's all new package. I mean, the motor, the injection, the ECU, everything's all new. The only thing that is the same from my car or my old car to my new car is basically my shocks, and wheels. But other than that, I mean, it's been really good.
Well, we've all been watching it for sure, so we know what you got. That's for sure. It looks like you got that thing pretty well dialed in for just having it a few races out on the track. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, it's fun to drive. I mean, it's definitely been different handling and surprising how well it handles. So.
Right.
So the handling's been kind of like your biggest issue with that car?
Honestly, right out of the box, I mean, it's been really good,
okay.
which was really surprising. I thought for sure it would take, a few races or more, even half a year to figure out what's going on. But I mean, I'm making little changes and it's working. I mean, it's compared to my older car, my old car was a 2005 chassis, and this thing's a 2019. So
wow,
it's I thought for sure we'd be way out to lunch, but knock on wood, we've been right there still.
I can relate to the 2005 stuff. So my stuff's all old, mine's an 07 with a 2000 motor. So, I mean, we just make it work, I mean, try to make it faster each time.
Yeah. And you guys do an excellent job at it too. I mean, you guys are fast every time.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that. And like I say, we've been watching you in that new car. You kind of mentioned that when your dad bought that Lightning Sprint, how long ago was that? How old was you then?
Shoot, I want to say I was 13 or 14.
Okay.
I mean, that was my car, but when he got into the Lightning Sprint, it was early 2001, 2000, right in there. So,
wow.
I was 10, 11, possibly, right in there.
Yeah, being around them. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of years. A lot of years to be going at it, if you will. What do you see in the future?
As far as my racing career, I mean, I always would want to advance. The financial part of it is the tough part. I mean, there's no way that I could afford anything else that's, any higher class. I mean, I would always like to try to drive something else. I mean, that's my goal. But as far as the future in the Lightning Sprint, just keep out and go and have fun and try to win more races. I mean, it's, I won earlier this year at Placerville, and that tied me second on the all-time list, main event win list at Placerville in the Lightning Sprints. Gotcha.
With that being said, I hear that I get some notes sometimes about our conversation. So it heard that you had to actually shook down a midget earlier this year in Placerville. Is that what you're referring to?
I would. That was a fun time. I'm thankful for the opportunity to do that. I wish I would have been able to get more laps in it. The car owner just requested that I fired off and run a few laps and just to make sure it all went good for their car. And, I was really thankful for that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to get another shot at actually running a full race, in a midget or even a sprint car,
Yeah. Yeah. So how would you say 2 laps in?
Just a couple laps in the heat race, qualifying as well. So qualifying, heat race, and then just a couple laps in the main event.
Wow, so
I just pulled it off. I just didn't want to make a car owner upset, and I just wanted to do what he asked. So
right,
sure.
That's like a teaser, if you will, right?
Yeah, it very much was a teaser. I was like, man, this thing's fun. I wish I could just actually back it in the corner and see what it does.
Right. Wow.
So before a race, do you have any pre-race ritual that you do? Any music you listen to, or places you stop to eat, or places you park at the track, or
favorite toilet or anything like that?
That's funny you asked that. My dad was, Mike, you knew my dad, but my dad, we'd always have to get a box of Cheez-Its because he loved Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its, wow.
We'd always have to listen to Huey Lewis and the News on the way to the races because that was his favorite band. And whenever we go to Placerville or like Bakersfield, have to stop at a certain spot. So, yes, there is still a pre-race ritual, and it's getting a box of Cheez-Its and listening to Huey Lewis in the news and stopping at the same spots that we always did.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of guys do, man. Some do, some don't,
I grew up listening to Huey Lewis in the news because of him, and it's a band I enjoy listening to as well.
So Dakota, who's been your biggest moral supporter in your racing career?
My dad. I mean, if he was still here, he would still be, my uncle Jim and my, fiance Kristen. That's, they're just a couple. I mean, her dad and his wife is, really big supporters as well. I mean, it takes a team, and that's what it is. I mean, they're my team.
Man, a lot of the racers that call in and they talk about, dad being there, dad. I'm just like, oh, that is so awesome, that a dad gets to be there and a mom gets to be there, and that family unit. We seem to sometimes in this day and age kind of lose out on that family unit, and so it's super important. I see the importance of that, and it seems like this sport just kind of permeates that family, that structure, that team, that us against them kind of way of thinking, you know what I mean? And it's not us against them in a Mortal Kombat kind of situation, but it just reiterates the closeness that a family brings,
It is Mortal Kombat out there, Bill. You may not know that, but it is. For sure.
And it's like my mom, she's absolutely a supporter of me as well, and it's just a little far for them to drive sometimes, but, especially if we go to Merced, where we have my dad's memorial race, she's always there. Yeah. So absolutely, it's a family deal. Even though my parents got divorced when I was a young age, she's always been a supporter of it. And, I didn't grow up going to camping on the weekends with, my dad or my mom. I always wanted to go racing.
Right.
With all the tracks that you've ran over your career, what's your favorite? What place do you like to go to? What's your favorite? Sounds like I think you're going to say Placerville, probably.
Actually, I really do enjoy Placerville, but I actually enjoy Merced and Bakersfield.
Nice.
I really like going to those two tracks. One of the reasons I love Bakersfield is same way with Merced. You could just run the top and just be up against the fence at Bakersfield and be fast.
Yeah, Bakersfield's had a lot of drivers that we've spoke to. A lot of the guys all like that Bakersfield track. I mean, it's multiple groove. It's, usually a good track for the lightning sprints.
Yeah, and Merced's right up there too. Merced, I mean, it holds a special place in my heart. It's right up there as well. I mean, same with Placerville. I mean, it holds a special place in my heart as well at Placerville. But, I've had really good luck there and, been really good. And just that red clay, the environment there, it's second to none. I mean, there's nowhere else like it.
Well, you were saying that you're tied for the all-time win list there in the lightning sprint. Who you tied with? Scott Kenny?
No, I'm actually tied for second. Scott Kenny leads it.
Yeah.
And then I'm tied for second with John Riley, I believe it is.
Wow, you guys keep some good stats up there for sure.
Yeah, Placerville does a really good job. I wish we could see what everybody's stats were in the BCRA lightning sprints, for the whole, life that it's been.
Yeah.
So lightning sprints, wing or no wing? What do you prefer? What do you like better?
I like non-wing. I've had really good luck with the wing, and I haven't had that great of luck with non-wing.
Right.
But I like non-wing. I mean, it puts the driver in it. You got the wing on the car. You could be wide open, and not saying that you don't have to be a driver to drive wing.
Right.
It just takes that effect out of it. The wing just holds you down. Non-wing, I mean, you got to be searching. You got to be up on the wheel. You got to be moving all over the track, like I said, going where they're not. It gets a little sketchy sometimes because if you climb a wheel, especially non-wing, you don't have that wing holding you down. Like I said, you could go for a big ride. I mean, it seems like we get more racier non-wing as well. Because the wing makes the car so fast, you can't go run the top wing and somebody be running the bottom wing as well. I mean, non-wing, like I said, you just get to be able to move all over. You back the car in there. You got to finesse it a little bit. You can't just hold it wide open and let the wing do all the work for you almost.
Yeah. You probably know, but I'm a wing advocate. I like the speed. You know, I mean,
You're right.
I like to try to make the car run the top. I think that's where we do our best at for our team, anyways. I know AJ's kind of broke us in on running the bottom a little bit more, but you know, I kind of like the wings, the speed, and that. But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of guys, you know, that say the same thing that, like you just said. You know, it's more of a driver for a non-wing.
Where do you feel that wing at the most, Dakota?
Definitely those bigger tracks, Bakersfield, Placerville. When we race wing there at Placerville, the track's always so good around the bottom that you can't go to the top because it gets too far around.
And where do you feel it in the car? Do you feel it in the wheels and the seat when you're, you know, do you feel it in, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it just, you feel the car when you're getting in the corner, just wing over, and it's just pulling the car to the left a little bit easier than it would in non-wing. You know, the speeds, like Mike was saying, you know, the speeds are just different as well. Coming off the corners as well, the car's a lot straighter than what it would be non-wing.
Gotcha.
Right there. I mean,
so it's that slide. It's that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have that slide as much as you would non-wing.
Gotcha.
Right. Well, another question for you is, we all have that one race that we won't forget, or an experience at the track, whether it's driving or helping somebody or seeing something. What's your experience so far that you're gonna have a hard time forgetting? What's that for you?
Man, there's two of them, at least two.
Okay.
The first race after my dad passed away down in Bakersfield, I won, and then winning my dad's memorial race in 2019. But you know, that's the two that first come to mind. I mean, I would say winning his memorial race, you know, was something I always wanted to do, and I finally did after, you know, 5 or 6 years of trying, you know.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I mean, it just, every night is a memory, you know, because I mean, you're just having a good time with your friends, you're racing. The one thing about the Lightning Sprint organization is you could go drink beer with that person, you know, that you just, you know, race 25 hard laps with or 20 hard laps with, and you'll laugh about stuff and move on to the next one. Sometimes you'll get mad at each other, but like I said, the next race you're back drinking beer with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough group of guys you got up there for sure. You know, I mean, we've raced up there with you guys on and off for years, not so much lately, but yeah, it's a pretty competitive. I mean, Lightning Sprints in general is very competitive, no matter where you go.
Right.
You know, it's tough. It's tough to pull out a win. You know, there's just there's half a dozen or a dozen cars that are capable of winning on any given night. You know, it's just a really tough group of racers.
Dakota, what was your dad's name?
His name was Wayne.
Wayne Albright.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, they do a memorial race every year, and they always have a good car count, and it's always been a good show. All the ones that I've seen, you know, it's a good hard group of racers, kind of mixed between all the clubs. So they put on a really good show there at Merced for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, you know, one of my goals is to make my dad's memorial race one of the biggest paying Lightning Sprints, try at least across the nation. I mean, James Turnbull picked up the biggest purse. You know, I had lap sponsor money that equaled over $1,000 in lap sponsor money, and it was $2,035 to win. So he led every single lap and got over $3,000.
Yeah. So I remember the story with that was talking to James. You know, we've been putting James in our 41 car. We ran him at Bakersfield, and so I've gotten to know James a little bit more. But you probably know, I guess they had trouble with that left rear wheel. They couldn't get that wheel off to change that tire before that main event, and he just ran it. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so they ran that left rear on there because they couldn't get it off. And, man, he was able to hang on to the win for that thing for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like, from my point, I was running fourth the whole main, and it looked like it was pretty free. You know, just everybody was around the bottom. You know, sometimes it can get like that at Merced, but, you know, if it was we could get it widened up a little bit, get some moisture up top, it'd be really, really good track.
Yeah. Is there any one driver that you like competing against more than some of the others, past or present?
I mean, everybody's. I mean, like I said, it's always fun. But I don't know. I mean, I really enjoyed racing with Bobby. Just because I grew up watching him and old videos and stuff, and just knowing the name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I enjoy everybody.
Yeah.
I enjoy racing with everybody as long as we're all clean and we're all having a good time. And I had some good battles with James Turnbull at Bakersfield one night. I mean, we're throwing slide jobs at each other each corner. So I mean,
right.
I can't really say. I mean, I don't know if there's really one person that I enjoy racing with. I mean, it's everybody that I race with, I have a good time with.
Yeah. You say you guys were throwing. What did you say you were throwing?
Slide jobs at each other.
And what
in
is
each
that?
corner. So basically, you're going down the straightaway, and the car behind you ducks to the bottom, entering the corner, and slides across the groove all the way to the top, and tries to slow down your momentum. Well, in this case, I kept crossing him up.
Uh-huh.
Every time he'd do it, I just turn left to go underneath him and do it to him in the next corner.
Yeah.
And then he would do it back to me. And
So is that clean, or is that considered dirty? Is that just racing?
That's clean. That's racing.
Yeah.
That's racing.
It depends on if you slide up and take the guy out, then it's not
Right.
very clean. But as long
Right.
as you can make it stick, and you give the driver ample room, it's a clean slider. But they got dirty ones, man, that, you go in there and run up on somebody, hit their, left front wheel or something like that, or slide into them, that's them two drivers are usually going to talk afterwards in the pits, usually not real
Right.
good, but
Wow. So it's one of those I know that you know that I know.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah, why'd you do that to me?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. You're going to be the guy that got hit with the left front, or the guy that hit the left front. I mean, if I'm the guy that hit your left front, I could have. My right rear was in front of your left front wheel. You hit me, so
Yeah.
For sure. Hey, Dakota. So we're kind of at the end of in the call here. We're coming to the end, and this is oftentimes we talk about our crew and talk about our sponsors. And so,
Okay.
man, I imagine everybody's in this. I ain't met the Trump of racing yet, if you will. Sponsor wise, man, who do you got? Crew members and sponsors. Who would you like to thank?
My sponsors for sure. I got Oval Chassis Research, West Steel and Plastic, Angels Heavy All, Romy's Windows Cleaning, Parker Performance, Hinkle Performance, Solar Racing, Condi Farms.
Nice.
530 Wraps, who designed my car and everything. As far as my crew, first and foremost, my fiance, Kristen, my Uncle Jim, who's been in it with me since day one, him and my dad, my best friend Wade and Alex, and then, like I said earlier, Kristen's dad and his wife, they've been big supporters as well.
Yeah. I'd like to thank them all for supporting Dakota, and don't forget, that number one supporter, Wayne,
Yep.
from day one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for calling in and taking the time to meet with us, and it's very much appreciated. And good luck to you for the remainder of the year, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you down the road at a race here pretty soon, I would think.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. Like I said, and glad that you guys are doing this for the Light and Sprint organization,
Yeah.
help grow it and everything. So
For sure.
glad to see that.
Good luck this season, and thank you again. I look forward to meeting you.
I appreciate it. Look forward to meeting you too. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Wow. Mike, that's number 7.
Number 7 in the books.
They were almost there. You nervous?
No.
Okay. We got some post-production stuff coming up, and I'm just kind of like, I'm not nervous. I'm it's excited nervous. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, kind of am a little bit.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
here it is. You know what I mean? It's gonna, man, I'm excited for this to get out, for this, for what's to come, the unknown future, if you will. I'm excited to see where this takes us.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. And thank you again for the opportunity to do this. It's much appreciated, and I know that every Lightning Sprint driver. The ones we've talked to, the ones we haven't yet, it will be much appreciative.
It ain't all me, Mike. You brought this to the table, and I'm appreciative to be. This is not my my forte by any means. I'm learning a lot of new stuff, and this kind of takes me out of what of my norm, if you will. And I people need this sometimes. I need what I mean. I need that. I need to I need to be challenged, if you will, and people need to be challenged. So I'd be the first one. You know this already. I don't know much, about the racing and the Lightning Sprints, but I'm learning as we go, and this has been a great learning experience so far.
Yep. Yeah, you've learned a lot for sure.
If it doesn't go anywhere from here, man, I'm getting me a car. If it goes somewhere from here,
well, I just happen to have one for you.
Right.
I just happen to have that little jewel sitting in my garage right now.
Oh man,
we can put whatever number you want on it too.
Right.
We'll leave the Bill Mel and Associates on there for you, but we can definitely change the number for you.
Yeah, I got to get a little bit more, but I think it would be fun, like the racing experience. Like if we had, it might be even the thing, like you get the racing experience car, like they have in Vegas. You can go ride the Formula One, and so.
Yeah, they have that at Ventura. You can go through the Corey Cruiseman. You can drive a Focus midget or a sprint car, and they go down there. They put you in a fire suit and size you up with a helmet, and you get so many laps. Of course, the more money you pay, the more laps you get. And they have people, I think maybe like Wally Pankratz and Corey's that's helping these guys. People come from, as far as I know, I went through it, man, it's been years and years ago. I mean, maybe it's been a long time. But there was 2 guys that were there from back east, and they were friends, and they kind of grew up in the area. And they met at the track, and they went out and got behind the wheel of this full-blown sprint car. I think it was a 360.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they got in there, and, I mean, these guys were, 65, 70 years old, and, man, they were having the time of their life. I was sitting there. I was having more fun watching them.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was great. So, but they do have that. They've got that up north, and with Jimmy Seals open wheel school, and then they have it with Corey Cruiseman also as well.
I might have to check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, maybe do it, videotape it, and
they do that, or you can use your phone or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty fun, man. I had a blast. Me and my younger brother-in-law did it, and man, it was pretty fun.
Wow.
It was. I've been behind the wheel of a Lightning Sprint before, but I was kind of always afraid to really get on it because I knew that if it got tore up, I knew who was going to have to fix it, so I didn't, just kind of cruised it around a little bit, kind of taking it kind of easy, but nothing on the throttle or nothing like these guys do today. But
wow.
But yeah, number 7.
Number 7. Man, we got to get a cheer for that one there, if you will. Every time I hear that, I think Rush is coming on stage. All right, there we are, Mike. We're done.
Okay, Bill.
I will talk to you.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.